To talk to you. Thank you so much for all the work you have been doing. I just wanted to talk to you about, just journalism in general. And as soon as Obama was reelected, it was reported that there was a drone bombing in Yemen that affected innocent civilians. Is this a sign of things to come to continue with the Obama administration, or do you think it's going to get better or worse? What's your expectation of the next 4 years with Obama as president?
Oh, I think it's all going to get much worse. There's this theory that he can be liberated from these policies now because he's won a second term and no longer needs to move to the center, but I think the center is actually where he prefers to be, and I think the theory that's more compelling is that he no longer needs the base of the Democratic Party or progressives. I think you're going to see him do a bunch of policies that will anger his base. He's eager to do that, and I think accelerating these counterterrorism policies of the Bush administration is definitely something that's on the horizon.
It definitely perplexes me because there really isn't much outcry or criticism of him on the left or the right on these policies specifically. Why do you think that is? Like, why isn't there such an outcry like there was under George W. Bush?
Well, I think conservatives are actually being pretty principled and commendable, even though their views are repulsive, in that they were supportive of these policies when there was a Republican president. And they didn't change their minds and start attacking Obama over them. They've stayed supportive. I mean, if you look at what any right-wing figure says when asked about drones or assassinations or Guantanamo or indefinite detention or secrecy or any of that, they sing Obama's praises, including people like Dick Cheney or Michael Hayden, the former CIA director in the Bush years. So they're being totally consistent. The people who are being inconsistent and unprincipled are progressives, liberals, Democrats, who pretended to be so outraged by these policies during the Bush years. And I remember lots of Republicans saying that they were only making these complaints and voicing these grievances for partisan opportunism, and it turned out they were totally right, because these policies under the Obama administration don't bother the vast bulk of these very same progressives who were shrieking about it when there was a Republican president. In fact, many of them have become outright supportive. So when you combine the principled support of conservatives with the grotesque opportunism of Democrats, what you have is a fairly substantial portion of the citizenry who is supportive of these policies, and therefore the controversies that were in the Bush years no longer exist.
Yeah. And my last question is, what words of advice would you give fellow independent journalists? What tips, or where should we go? What's your criticism of independent journalism, and where do you think it should go, and how should we get there?
So I think two things I'd say about that. Number one is there was a Politico article today that was an attempt to demean and malign Michael Hastings, who last night was on CNN and attacked General Petraeus using facts in a way that was very upsetting to the official narrative. And this article in the Politico that was designed to attack him, unwittingly, actually, heaped praise on him. One of the, quote, criticisms was that he seems like he always is seeking to make trouble. And to me, seeking to make trouble is a core journalistic virtue. I mean, ruffling the feathers of those in power, subverting them, undermining them, challenging orthodoxies, making trouble is what journalism is about. And I think you need to commit yourself to doing that as much as possible. And you obviously do that already as much as anybody, if you really want to do actual journalism. And then the second thing I think is really important is to avoid trying to be a generalized commentator on everything that's being talked about. Instead, to develop true expertise in a certain finite number of topics, because ultimately journalism not only requires aggression and a willingness to be confrontational and challenge people in power fearlessly, but also a predicate that is grounded in facts and understanding and expertise and insight, so that what you're talking about is true and you can dissect and challenge things in a rational and meaningful way.
Very well said. Thank you so much for all your work, and I look forward to reading more of your articles, and really thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing everything you've been doing. And
I say the same thing to you, genuinely. You've been doing fantastic work that's unique and very valuable.
There's a lot more to do,
yes,
and there's no quitting.
Excellent.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate that. When you were head of the NSA officials were caught listening to people's private sex phone conversations for kicks. How do you respond to such gross violations of privacy?
I hope I didn't say either of those things.
But you did, and it's written. Do you retract them?
I'm focused on my job.
So you're not retracting that? Do you still believe that?
I'm not,
Do you still believe that People shouldn't have freedom of speech.
Thanks very much. Yeah,
So-
I'm
so-
happy to talk about
so-
this, by the
so-
way.